between the top three. Any one of them could win this one. Nice and easy for them all so far. Surely Lopez is going to have a lunge. Gallo goes defensive. Side by side we go for the race victory into the final corner. Gallo wins the Nations Cup Grand Final here in Prague.
PlayStation.
Hello from Tokyo.
It's time for the Nations Cup, coming to you live from Tokyo. Now, it's been a story of ups and downs for our top 12 Gran Turismo drivers, where just simple things like a wrong turn, a slightly late braking point, even 20 meters extra of track, and honestly, our leaderboard would look totally different from Coque López in front with just 1 point. You don't want to miss this one because everything could change.
To you live from the Milano Zan Theatre in Tokyo. This is the Nations Cup!
ネーションズカップ、東京のミラノ座新宿歌舞伎町からお届けしております。Yes.
Well, Sasha,
yes.
You've seen the Manufacturers Cup. That was fun.
That was amazing.
Really fun.
Yeah, you didn't know, you can't predict until the end of the race.
Absolutely cannot. But are you ready for some Nations Cup?
Of course. 皆さん、ネーションズカップの準備はできてますか？
Yes.
They are ready too.
We're all ready, so let's get things started and we'll throw it over to Tom and Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Jules. Looking forward to this one, Jimmy. I mean, manufacturers, as Sasha and Jules were just saying, hugely exciting. Couldn't predict it right down to the last few laps of the race. Nations Cup, though, probably going to be much the same.
Yeah, Nations Cup, I mean, we've got some pretty special races coming up for you guys. Trust me, they're going to be good. So stick around. Nations Cup, definitely my favourite. So hopefully have some good races here in Tokyo.
Absolutely. And if you haven't seen what's happened so far in the Nations Cup, have a look at what we got up to a few weeks ago for round 2 in Prague. Highlights then from the grand final of the Nations Cup in Prague saw Coque López being the man on the move. He started on the soft compound of tyre, whilst everybody else around him was on the mediums. And by lap 8, he was up through into the lead of the race.
Yeah, last the first challenge there completed by Coque López. A great run, but as the race entered its closing stages, things really started to hot up, with the top 6 cars being separated by only a second. But this was the end of the race, and his attempt on the lead for Jose Serrano. Contact with Kylian Drumont put him off into the gravel.
Also sent Kaj de Bruin tearing down the order. It became a three-way fight at the front, though. Drumont, Gallo and López battling hammer and tong. This is going down into the hairpin. Gallo through into the race lead, and López also following suit, coming through into the chicane. Ultimately, it was always going to go down to the final lap, and it was always going to be dramatic in the Nations Cup Grand Final. On to the final lap. This is López going to the outside of Gallo for the race lead, but this is where the race gets undone for López. Wrong place, wrong time. Bit of contact there with Drumont, sends him round the order. Gallo takes the victory. Drumont's in second, and López limping home in third place ahead of Heck and De Bruin. And this is what it meant for the Italian. So the points rankings then after 2 rounds of the GT World Series. You see Coque López, despite having not taken a victory, his consistency has gotten him to the top of the pile. Gallo, though, nipping in his heels, just 1 point away.
Yeah, really close, really. I mean, you can see we've got 6 drivers there, all within a shot of taking the lead at the end of this round. Still, Hex, Zaki and Barbara also scoring points as well. But as you say, Coque López, that consistency, as always for him, paying off.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what López is going to be able to do. Points, of course, awarded from first down to 6th over the course of this race. So, opportunity for a few drivers to get themselves off the board. I'm looking at Inestrosa, Carazza. We're not used to seeing them down there. They've got to have a really good round 3 in order to be able to capitalise and get themselves, hopefully, in contention for the World Finals.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is now. I mean, if you're running out of time, only one more round before the World Finals to score points, so it is essential to have a good run here today.
Well, let's get ready then, shall we, and meet the 12 drivers who will be on stage for the Nations Cup for round 3 of the GT World Series. Welcoming our first driver, a two-time event winner. This is a 35-year-old who's aiming for the championship here this year.
過去2回の優勝者、35歳チャンピオンシップを狙っている。
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Brazilian Adriano Carrazza. Our next driver finished second in the Nations Cup World Finals in 2022 in Monaco. He needs to get himself off the scoreboard though here this weekend.
2022年モナコでのワールドファイナルで2位に上がりましたネーションズカップ。さあ今回はどうでしょう。
It's Chile's Angel Inestrosa. Next up, his first season in the Gran Turismo World Series, the 18-year-old here will be hoping for a good time this weekend.
グランツーリスモワールドシリーズ初シーズンということになります。18歳、ここではいい結果を残したいところ。
It's the American Callum Roach. First points of the season, this driver scored at round 2 in Prague.
今シーズンプラハの第2戦では初めてポイントを獲得しました。
All the way from down under, from Australia, it's Guy Barbara. This driver is aiming for his first podium of 2024. He's had no points on the board since we started things back in Canada.
2024年の初表彰台を目指しています。まだここまでポイントがありません。
The hometown favourite, it's Japan's Takuma Sasaki. Next up, the 24-year-old American driver sits 7th in the standings. He'll be hoping for good fortunes.
ここまでランキング7位です。アメリカ人24歳、いい結果を残したいところ。
It's the American Robbie Heck. This driver was 1/3 of the Nations Cup champions of Team Spain last year.
過去3回ですね、去年はスペインに、ネーションズカップの勝利を与えています。
It is of course Jose Serrano. The 19-year-old youngster here will be seeking his first victory.
19歳初勝利をここでは目指しています。
From the Netherlands, it's Kaj de Bruin. Our next driver was part of the Manufacturers Cup World Championship winning lineup in 2022 with Subaru.
2022年のスバルでの、マニファクチャラーのチャンピオンの一員でした。
From France, it's Kylian Drumont. Next up, it's a triple world champion from 2020 and a hometown favourite here tonight.
2020年3回の世界チャンピオン、そしてもちろんここはホームです。
From Japan, it's Takuma Miyazono. Next up, we welcome our 2021 Nations Cup World Champion.
2021年のネーションズカップ世界チャンピオン。
It's Italy's Valerio Gallo. And last but not least, we welcome our 3-time world champion and current championship leader.
そして最後は3回の世界チャンピオン、そして今のリーダーでもあります。
From Spain, it's Coque López. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your respect please for the national anthem of our host nation here in Japan.
日本国歌の演奏です。
The national anthem of Japan plays out here in Tokyo, round 3 of the 2024 Gran Turismo World Series for the Nations Cup, just moments away in this beautiful city. What a joy it is to be back here for the first time since 2019. Hugely excited, JB, to get this one underway.
Yeah, I mean, what a location, what a crowd as well. I mean, it's so great to hear the home support for Sasaki and for Miyazono as well. This is what it's all about here at these live events, hearing you guys and your enthusiasm for Gran Turismo as well.
Well, if you haven't watched the GT World Series so far and you're wondering what on earth it's all about, first of all, it's great to have you here, but have a look at this little video that we've prepared for you so you can find out exactly what's happened in 2024.
Here's how the Nations Cup competition breaks down. Racing are the 12 fastest drivers from the 2024 online qualifiers. Each of these drivers will get a chance to set a time over one attack lap. This qualifying round determines car selection and grid order for the sprint race. The sprint race then sets the grid order for the grand final. All 12 drivers will battle it out in the grand final, with the top 6 securing World Series points that will be added to their results from round 1 in Montreal and round 2 in Prague. First place gets a shiny trophy and is declared winner of round 3 in the Nations Cup World Series.
So that's the competition format. This is the qualifying time trial, which took place earlier on today. Red Bull X 2019 at Grand Valley Highway. This determines the grid order for the sprint race and, of course, the order which the drivers could choose their car. Karatsa was the first driver across the line, but he was bettered by Helena Stroza.
Yeah, time's going to thick and fast. Sasaki as well on a good lap. See through this midsection here, controlling this Red Bull X 2019. So much power, so much torque, and no traction control being used. The managed to go fastest on 25.3, very quick in the early stage of the qualifying.
Yeah, it was the fellow Japanese driver, Takuma Miyazono, that was the man on the move though. He went to the top of the pile at 1:25.3, and he knew that that was a good lap. He was joined on the front row then by Takuma Sasaki. Our last hope was Coque López, and where would he be able to put himself amongst the rest of the drivers? It was only 6th quickest. Disappointment there for the Spaniard, and a bit of work to do going into this race, but here is how the grid lines up then ahead of the sprint. So Miyazono, Sasaki is your front row, then Inestrosa and Serrano on row 2, Drumont, Lopez row 3, row 4 is De Bruin and Gallo, then it's Barbara, Heck, Roach and Adriano Karatsa. 7/10 of a second separating 12 drivers, JB.
It's always close here in these qualifying events in the Gran Turismo World Series, but of course importantly for Miyazono, a great place to be for his championship. He's currently 3rd there. He needs all the points he can get, so having that advantage over Gallo and over Lopez in qualifying, well, it's a good way to start.
Certainly is, and the drivers this weekend using a brand new wheel as well. This is the Fanatec DD Extreme. We've got it for the first time at the Gran Turismo World Series, and what a fantastic bit of kit it is. All the feedback has been very positive, if you'll pardon the pun. Don't forget, of course, that you can vote for your Michelin Driver of the Day after the race as well. The winner will be announced during the Extra Lap press conference that we'll be hosting after the event. So very much looking forward to that. So then, let's change our attention over to the first race, the sprint race, because unlike what we saw in qualifying a few minutes ago, Jimmy, where we were in the X2019s at Grand Valley, we're going into road cars at this place, the Tokyo Expressway, but not any road cars.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally just across the road, which is quite mad. Like, we can go drive down this. Yeah, Tokyo Expressway, we're using some production cars, but we'll get into those cars in a second because they're very special indeed. 10 laps, so just an old-fashioned sprint race. Very tricky circuit, so you can see, defined by one absolutely massive straight where we're going to see speeds, I'm told, of over 400 kilometres an hour.
That's almost as fast as Minty, isn't it?
That's almost, well, Minty of a cliff maybe. And here's an insight into the cars our competitors are going to be using. Pretty much everything Gran Turismo is known for. Full of JDM goodness, we've got some Lamborghinis in there too, Ferraris, and all of them, I'm told, tuned to over 1,000 horsepower.
I know exactly which one you'd be pumping for if you were on the grid, though. This one. Look at that.
That's a nice
like
car,
they knew.
isn't it? Look at that. Top speed, Frederick. Yeah, I mean, my car ain't going to do that, but
dashboard's less crap than your one is as well.
You got to calm down. All right? You're getting too confident. But yeah, that's one of our beautiful cars here as well. R32, R34, R33 in there. So just awesome. I mean, for me, this is like a perfect race. I'm going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, and tuned, like you said, to the maximum as well, like 1,000 horsepower of a Nissan GTR. It is going to be absolutely killer. That's along the way in a few moments' time. But first of all, let's head down and catch up with Gran Turismo Series producer Kazunori Yamauchi. He's with Sasha and Jules.
All right, it's an honor to have Mr. Yamauchi on the stage. Yamauchi-san, 大きな拍手を.
僕ら普段こういったね。
Meet the users on site, so I'm really having fun meeting the people.
We're really happy to be back. We love Tokyo.
本当に楽しんでますということですが、今回はね、この後スプリントレースの場所がなんと、エクスプレスウェイということで、山内さん、なんかその辺もちょっとこだわってるというふうに思いがあるというふうに聞いていますけれども、we're going to race a sprint race in the expressway, so and 山内さん really excited about that too, right?
はい、ですね、今回のスプリントレースレース1ですけれども、90年代初頭の湾岸というか。1000馬力のチューニングカー、エンジンもチューニングされているし、サスペンションもそうだし、ギアボックスも変わっていて、いや、どんなレースになるんでしょう。
You know, it's a 90s one-gun feeling, if you know what it is. 1,000 horsepowers, tuned engine, tuned suspension. You know what's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's going to just be awesome.
It's going to be rough.
What's going to happen? Yamauchi-san, is there anything you would like to say to the amazing Gran Turismo fans in the audience today?
お客様に何か最後におっしゃりたいことありますか？
はい、ですね、今日のレース1、レース2どちらもそうなんですけれども、車をアクセルを踏むってことも大事なんですが、ブレーキで止めるってことも大事で、そのあたりの本当に世界の、トップドライバーたちの走りを、堪能していただければいいなと思います。
With the 1,000 horsepower race, it's really important to accelerate, but it's also really important to brake. So look at the high skills of the top driver of the world. Thank you.
And I think, should we get it started? What do you think, Sasha?
Yeah, I think. Are you ready, 皆さん？それではスプリントレースの準備はできてますか？ Right. Everybody's ready. So let's start the sprint race. Sure.
Yeah, let's do it. It's over to Tom and Jimmy.
So then, time to go for the sprint race for Tokyo for round 3 of the 2024 Gran Turismo World Series. Production cars tuned to the max in the beautiful conditions of this Tokyo Expressway circuit at night as well, just to add another element for the drivers to have to contend with. And here is how they line up on the grid. It's Takuma Miyazono in the Lamborghini, who's in pole position. Alongside him on the front row, the Audi R8 of Takuma Sasaki. Row 2 is headed by Angelina Stroza in the Mercedes-AMG Black Series, with Jose Serrano for company in the Ferrari F40. Next up, it's Kylian Drumont in the Pagani Huayra. And then you've got Coque López in the Nissan Skyline GTR R34. Then the R32 Nismo Skyline of Kaj de Bruin is in 7th with Valerio Gallo. He'll be happy with that. He loves a Honda. He's in the NSX in 8th position. Then it's Guy Barbara in the Nissan GTR R35. And then Toyota Supra is driven by Robbie Heck. Callum Roach, I should say, beg your pardon, is in the Mazda RX-7. And Adriano Carrazza in the Nismo 400R lines up at the back of the field. No need to worry about tyres during this race, by the way. It's a flat-out sprint from start to finish. It is going to be action-packed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a straight fight, this. And as you saw from our little graphic earlier on, these cars are tuned to way over 1,000 horsepower. And you add the slipstream into that, and you have the speeds entering T1 over 400 kilometers an hour. That way inclined. So it's going to be, I think, chaotic down a T1 the first time through. If you get through there in one piece, I think you're in good stead for the race. That's definitely going to be a challenge.
Certainly is, and the drivers, as we said, are going to have to be contending with nighttime conditions, and we saw them practicing earlier on. They were oversteering, understeering, sliding about all over the place. It was quite dramatic, really.
Yeah, it was very much. And of course, bear in mind, in this case, it's a ton of fun to see this
hunter being the hunted to being the hunter, rather, I should say. Serrano there lurking in the background, as well as Angelina Stroza. It funnels right down into turn 1. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? Miyazono on the inside, then Sasaki and Serrano bang into the wall for Sasaki and also for Serrano. Stroza takes advantage and goes through into 3rd position, and somehow, in all of the drama, Miyazono manages to retain the lead.
Yeah, I mean, they've had the brakes upgraded on these things, but I mean, slowing from that sort of speed is very, very difficult indeed. A couple of cars into the wall there. Miyazono out front from Sasaki in a Stroza there in 3rd, Serrano 4th. But as you can see, very, very tricky getting these production-based cars through this circuit. So much power being delivered to the wheels here. Some of these cars as well are rear-wheel drive, some are four-wheel drive. There's advantages there in traction zones, but of course in the corners they're going to be a bit more susceptible to understeer the four-wheel drive machines. But coming through this tight section for the first time as we now come back up towards where we started our rolling start. And Miyazono is, unless you can get a big gap out front, because the slipstream, the toe in these cars is absolutely huge.
Yeah, certainly is. So let's see what's going to happen then here as we come down in towards the hairpin. They're not favourable on traction, these cars, at all, because the amount of power that's going through the rear axles, or indeed sometimes the front and the rear axles. You've got to be really, really ginger on the power. Someone's out well wide. That's Kaj de Bruin, isn't it? Yeah, he's off into the centre of Tokyo, I think. He's ended up in Ginza or something along the lines of that, but manages to keep it righted and holds on to 8th position. On board we are here with Jose Serrano. Look at the power here of the Ferrari F40 as we go into the tunnel, and his next target will be Sasaki in front. So it's the two Japanese drivers now leading a Spaniard.
Look at that speed climb there, 360 kph before we came off board there, 390, there's 400 kilometres an hour off the end of the speedo, and then some is this F40. I love two, to be honest, at this point. It's very, very quickly. Well, do they all get it stopped in time this time through? They do, and Kaj de Bruin almost getting it wrong in the skyline, almost going to the back of Jose Serrano there, but Sasaki up into the lead now, of course, after that slipstream opportunity. But you're seeing these cars are insane. I mean, you have to belong to a very special club to be in one of these cars, Tom.
Certainly do. On board we are, or we are looking rather, I should say, at Takuma Miyazono, with Sasaki having taken over at the sharp end of this race. So down through into these sweeping S-bends. You've got to be one at a time through here, and you've got to really be careful about what sort of opportunities you decide to take, what liberties you decide to take, because it will reward you with the wall if you decide to push the limits that little bit too far. So Inestrosa having a good run of things so far. And just to remind you, of course, this race result will decide the grid order for the grand final coming up along the way after this one. And just to add another variable in the mix, we're into the Red Bull X 2019. Now let's work out what happened here with Robbie Heck and Guy Barbara. This is going to be down into the hairpin bend, and I think there's going to be a bit of contact into the back. Yeah, Barbara just misses braking point straight into Heck. Heck gets spun round. Barbara backs off the gas. I think Heck he's still down in 12th place, so I reckon there'll be a penalty forthcoming for that.
That's a very Guy Barbara thing to happen, isn't it, unfortunately? He always seems to be quick, but just a little bit prone to incident at the moment.
And Robbie Heck has loads of luck, just all a bit bad, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is. But again, on board this time with the mighty R34 GTR. Guy Barbara giving that penalty. Here's the slipstream. Look at this, Inestrosa. We're going to drive by him, I'll say that, but now we're back into the toe again. So it's just a little, I mean, despite the speeds, again, we're well off the end of the speedo here in the R34, but look, 410, 414, 400, I mean, you see 420.
We're going to go for all wide for the race lead here as well, coming down in towards the first corner. Serrano's on the outside, Sasaki there as well. Oh, bang! Straight into the back, Lopez into the wall, and that is drama, and we were expecting it to kick off. And unfortunately it did in the biggest way at the start of lap 3. The upshot is it's Sasaki, Miyazono, it's Rosa out in front, and now we've got Lopez, who's got a lot of recovery work to do if he's going to be able to salvage a result from this race and secure himself a good grid position for the grand final.
Yeah, that's our championship leader right there in jeopardy. So I mean, we know Coque López is good at coming back through the field, but obviously you don't want to be doing that, and that will likely be a penalty as well, because he just ran into the back of the guy in front. Valerio Gallo, good race from him so far, up to P5. He's moved up 3 places from his starting position in 8th, so now onto the back of the pack in front. That NSX doing pretty well. Here is a replay, if you missed it, of Coque López just getting the braking all sorts of wrong. He actually helps to run him out a bit there, I think.
I think he knew that he'd outbraked himself, didn't he? And he just decided to go straight to the wall. Look at that. Facial reaction says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, oops.
Yeah, something stronger than that probably running around in his head that we can't repeat on the broadcast. Guy Barbara did, by the way, pick up a 2-second penalty for his troubles after that collision with Robbie Heck, just for your information. Miyazono a bit deep at the hairpin there. That allows the door to open for Inestrosa, who's gladly ready to walk through it and slot into the slipstream of Sasaki, the race leader. Lopez and Serrano now under investigation for that collision at the start of this lap as well. Onto the straight we go, and we've got a fantastic shot of the action unfolding here with Valerio Gallo in front. You've got Serrano and Miyazono side by side. Sorry, Serrano and Inestrosa, I should say, side by side as we go through the tunnel. Inestrosa just able to hold firm ahead of Jose Serrano for now as well. Keep an eye out for Kaj de Bruin. He's having something of a quiet race. And look at the closing speed in the slipstream there for Miyazono. Sasaki early on the brakes. He knows that you don't want to make the same mistakes that Lopez did. Hello, enter stage left. That's Angel Inestrosa trying to go the long way around the outside, but you have to wake up pretty early to try and fall off Takuma Sasaki. He probably knows these roads a little bit better than Angel Inestrosa.
Isn't that insane that you can be going 380 kph and the guy drives by you with that speed differential? Crazy combo. Unsurprisingly, though, I think, I saw that coming. Coque López getting the same penalty Guy Barbara got. It was effectively the same incident there. So Coque López getting slapped for that. But meanwhile, the fight for first now really between these 5 cars. There's a bit of a gap behind us to Kaj de Bruin in the R32. But on board again with the NSX Type R of Valerio Gallo, currently second in the standings in our Nations Cup. So again, looking for a good position here, looking for a good result, and just try and put himself in a nicer order for the race coming, the grand final coming later on.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity here for Gallo to try and take profit, courtesy of that incident for Lopez, especially with the penalty to compound the Spaniard's woes. Gallo there, brilliant drive, isn't it? Fantastic. Lopez with another 1 second penalty to add to his woes there as well. Down on the brakes we go into the hairpin. Gallo's just going to bide his time. There's no point going and diving up the inside because you're going to lose all of that by the time you come to this next straight.
Yeah, he did back off there, I think, to get this toe. This is how strong the toe is. So right now, we're in P5. Let's see how much time we can gain being the last car in the train. Or saying that, this car's rocketing away from the NSX down the straight. Let's see what Gallo can do as Serrano moves ahead of Inestrosa. Who's that as well? That Kaj de Bruin in the skyline. Look at the power of the thing. But he's passed Valerio Gallo. He's now chasing the cars in front, though he's fallen back by again. But you can see just how strong the toe is. And again, Sasaki and Miyazono trade places. I think they're being a bit careful, but they're saying that. Miyazono trying to keep it up the inside. There's Valerio Gallo diving up the inside of everyone up into P3. Was there contact there, Tom?
I don't know if there was. Inestrosa was out well wide, but I think he was on that course to himself. Oh, a bit of contact to the wall there as well. Serrano's in the middle of a bit of a pickle here because he's got De Bruin in front, but he's trying to hide, rather, I should say, but also trying to attack the driver in front. And sure enough, you change to the next corner, and the order has changed as well. De Bruin side by side now with the Ferrari as we come through this ever-sweeping series of corners. And De Bruin just keeping his powder dry for the time being.
This is just, what a race this is. What cars these are. The speeds are ridiculous. And the thing is, at these speeds, if you do get something wrong, if you miss your braking point by, Gallo just driving by Sasaki there. He didn't need inviting twice for that, did he? So Gallo now up into second place. It's been a great drive from the Italian so far. Of course, his cars are very different from the X2090s, but we see this with Valerio. He really likes this production-style car. Car a bit soft, a bit more roll to it. He just loves this sort of car and really is just doing so well today.
I'm loving these production cars as well because we get to see the beautiful interiors that the team at Polyphony have modelled as well. I was actually watching on board with Valerio Gallo a few minutes ago, looking at the clock, and I noticed that the clock does actually work in real time as well. Just that little attention to detail that you just don't see anywhere else. Meanwhile, Sasaki is keeping an eye on his clock because he knows that the time will be running out as we head to the halfway stage, as he now gets past the Honda NSX of Valerio Gallo and back through into second position. Look at this, 3 abreast as we come through the tunnel. Oh, contact there with De Bruin and Inestrosa. You've got to be so careful of that because these cars, when they're on the edge of adhesion like they are, you can flick them round with your little finger and it doesn't take a lot of contact at all to ruin your race. De Bruin keeping a watching brief. We now ride on board with him. This is a familiar sight for you if your name is Jimmy Broadbent because that's a similar interior for your car. Look at that, Sasaki on the inside and Gallo as well. It's going to get messy, this one, isn't it, in the closing stages? You can just sense it's going to really bubble up. And look at that, De Bruin with a lunge to the inside of Serrano as well. I don't think he'll make that stick, but somehow he's got traction on the inside here against the Spaniard, and if he can hold it around the outside, no, Serrano has got track position.
You can just see in the traction zones, but this thing's four-wheel drive compared to the rear-wheel drive cars in front. It's able to get that power down, and through these this midsection just doesn't quite have the same cornering ability. So it's really interesting to see the strengths and weaknesses of the cars around this Tokyo Expressway circuit. And you see the gap really opening up there to the cars in front, but behind us is a 3.5 second gap.
On in this race, Lopez, by the way, down in 10th position. His race not going well at all, and that's going to give him a big uphill task for the grand final in the X2019s a little bit later on. But if anyone can turn it round, Coque López can. If you remember, he started last on the grid in the grand final in Prague, managed to get his way up to a podium finish, could have possibly fought for victory. On board we are then here with Kaj de Bruin. He's got Angel Inestrosa directly in front in the Mercedes AMG Black Series. Then it's Valerio Gallo up the road, and he's going to breeze on by the Mercedes, or is he? Because pulling out the slipstream there is Inestrosa on Valerio Gallo, and de Bruin there, though he's got a fair bit of straight line speed, and that's where the strength of this Nissan GTR seems to be at the moment. He's just not able to use it for the time being. It's going to be a lunge to the inside. We're side by side there for third. Inestrosa looking for the long way around the outside on Valerio Gallo. That'll be a brave move if he can pull it off. Indeed he can't. The door's open for Kaj de Bruin, who gladly tries to walk through it. There's a bit of hip and shoulder going through into turn 2, and de Bruin does manage to get the better of Inestrosa and goes up into 4th.
The braking zones are just so long here. Such good opportunities for these big moves if you're comfortable in taking that risk. We've seen what happens if you're just a little bit too late on the brakes here. That barrier is just waiting to greet you on the outside of the corner. And again, you're seeing this skyline just a bit weak in this part of the circuit. It can't keep up the rest.
Tell you what it has done though, it's just allowed the top 3 to have a little bit of breathing space. Only 7/10 of a second or so, but whilst they've been squabbling amongst one another behind, it's just broken the pack up ever so slightly. And likewise, Miyazono, he's begun to pull the pin now. He's got 8/10 of a second. That's the biggest gap we've seen all race long for the lead.
Tell you what, that NSX very, very strong in that midsection there. Looking to that, Gallo is just desperate to get by Sasaki. I think he's being held up a little bit now. But as you're saying, this Sasaki being a bit slower is giving Miyazono that gap, and we're getting to the point now where the draft isn't going to quite be as strong. That's what is keeping these guys together. But of course, you might have played the old GT4 driving missions, the slingshot missions. That's what Gallo's going to do now. He's going to wait, try and get a good run out of the corner, get a massive draft. You see the difference between all-wheel drive there and rear-wheel drive to the corner. That's amazing.
Patience is going to reward these drivers, isn't it? You don't want to be like a toddler waiting to open your presents on Christmas Eve. You've got to be careful about how you do this one, and you can see there Kaj de Bruin now goes up into 3rd position against Valerio Gallo. Across the timeline we go. 3 to go then at the end of this one. So in 3rd position in the Nissan Skyline R32. Just up in front you've got Sasaki, who's taken over from Takuma Miyazono, so that 8/10 of a second lead washed away in the space of less than 1 straight. Miyazono has a look back on the inside in the Lamborghini. Can he make it stick? I don't think Sasaki's going to hold him up too much, because he knows if they start squabbling, I say that, he goes back through on the inside. Beautiful switchback from Sasaki, but it's released the rest of the field to close right up onto the rear wing of the top 2 once again.
I know, obviously we're impartial here in the commentary booth, but I am cheering a little bit for that R32 in 3rd place. Doing things with that car that I'm not sure it's meant to do, to be honest, but they're now in the back of the train. Look how close these guys are. 6 cars all separated by about a second as we're on the lap 8 of 10. So only about a lap and 2 laps and a half to sort this all out for our guys here. Jose Serrano on board in that awesome Ferrari F40, always also looking to pounce. You get the real impression, Tom, that anyone could win this race.
Yeah, it is going to be a lottery. De Bruin's wide though. That's allowed Gallo through, and Serrano possibly to pick up the pieces as well. De Bruin's still there on the inside, trying to hold firm for 5th position at the moment, and you can see up in front now as well. Once again, that yin and yang, the ebbing and flowing of this race. Sasaki leading from Miyazono. Gallo and Miyazono now side by side for second as we come down into the hairpin. Is Miyazono going to launch it through on the inside, or is he going to try and wait another day? No, he's going to go through. He's got track position on the inside. Will Gallo try and challenge him on the exit of the corner? He just lets him through and decides to go into the slipstream to attack him on this start-finish straight. So 2 to go then.
The NSX just can't get out of the corner. Every time you see it struggle compared to the cars around, and again in the background, Kaj de Bruin in that 4-wheel drive R32 GTR just pulls alongside with ease, and they're now side by side in the mirror. What a shot that is as we come down again to the 1st corner on board Miyazono. Look at that speed, look at the mirror. Kaj de Bruin is there behind, challenging. He's going to go up to 2nd place. Will he ever go to Miyazono for 1st, and on the inside as well? There we go!
He goes. It bottlenecks up into turn 1, and de Bruin round like a tabletop at the start of the penultimate lap. What a shame for the Dutchman. We've always talked about him and his misfortune in the GT World Series, and unfortunately it comes home to roost as he plummets down the order. That releases 6 cars now down to 5. Miyazono it is that leads.
What a shame for Kaj de Bruin. It was a very strong race for him there, but as you say, Tom, the track's just a bit narrower there, and I think he's caught out by that as Gallo goes round the outside of Sasaki, and now, for the first time, Valerio Gallo is in a position where maybe he can get onto the back of Miyazono, but he's going to be close. That Gallardo in front, I think, is four-wheel drive. So here's a replay of what happened here, Tom.
Yeah, let's have a look. So De Bruin then go for the move, and yeah, he just clips the wall, doesn't he? There wasn't any contact seemingly with Miyazono. Clips the wall as it bottlenecks up. That sends him round. I talked about the cars being so easy to turn around when you're at that limit, and you can see it there spinning round right to the back of the field. It's now an uphill challenge for De Bruin, unfortunately, for the grand final. He'll be starting plumb last.
Yeah, he just came round on him. He just turned across the nose of Miyazono, and that was the end. So real shame for Kaj de Bruin, but just over 1 lap to go here, the sprint race here at Tokyo Expressway. Takuma Miyazono leads at the last corner, Gallo second, Sasaki third, and now it's going to be the biggest slipstream race of your life. They're all going to want to lead into T1, and Miyazono's in the worst place.
Well, keep an eye out as well for the slipstream here, because we're just about to come across to the timing line and see how far Valerio Gallo is. So look, if there's the start-finish line, what's that going to look like in a lap time? You need to be closer than that in order to challenge for the victory if you're going to go for a slipstream move. Gallo then now does go for the move against Takuma Miyazono, and hello, here comes Jose Serrano. There's more contact there. Miyazono gets biffed into the wall, but he's got the advantage of the slipstream, and is Serrano going to be in a bit of lumber here? No, he's still there, ready to try and take advantage. Down to the first corner, Miyazono with a lunge on the inside, leans on Valerio Gallo. Gallo's going to get shuffled to the outside. Miyazono is going to have a sniff through into turn 2, but can't do anything, and now it's Gallo that leads, but he's slightly in the wall. Sasaki's ready there to take the advantage of it as well, and likewise Serrano, and also Angelina Stroza. This is going to get messy.
So Gallo is out front, but he needs a gap. That car is not good off the last corner. Any of the cars behind him will outdrag him down to the first corner. So at the moment, Gallo's got to drive for his life in this middle sector. Miyazono is still there. We have our second and third place in the championship separated by only 0.3 of a second coming into the last section. Now he's putting a bit of a gap, Tom, but is that going to be enough going on to the final straight?
Time is going to tell here. Gallo's pulled an advantage, but like you say, is it going to be enough for him to have that in his pocket? There are the steely eyes of determination for the Italian, the winner, of course, of the grand final from Prague last time out. Second he sits in the standings. His nearest rival to that is Coque López. He's 11th, and that's where it looks like he'll be starting the grand final from. So this will be a great opportunity here for Valerio Gallo. Down into the hairpin, Miyazono late on the brakes. He's deep. Could that cost him a possibility of second place even here as we come on to the start-finish straight then for the final time? It's Gallo, Miyazono, Sasaki and Serrano. Miyazono's close. He's in the slipstream. We're going to go through into the tunnel and we're going to come to the timing line. Is Gallo going to be a sitting duck, or is Miyazono going to pounce? It's a drag to the line in the sprint race here in the Nations Cup. Is it Miyazono or Gallo? 0.003 of a second in it, and Miyazono wins on the streets of Tokyo. Gallo finishes second, Sasaki in third. What a... Here's some highlights from that sprint race. It was always going to be a fast and frenetic affair. It saw Takuma Sasaki starting on pole position from Miyazono, and then we saw Serrano going through, or trying to, at least on the outside. A couple of drivers ended up in the wall.
No one made that first corner, did they, Tom? It was a bit rough and ready through there. But Miyazono did lead the race from the start. Here was an on-board from Coque López. This took our championship leader out of contention very early, just getting his braking zone wrong. Got a penalty for that and for an incident at the start of the race there. You can see it unfold, and the reaction there from Coque López.
Yeah, disappointing there for Lopez. Meanwhile, at the front, Sasaki grenades the lead over to Takuma Miyazono. So Stroza running a little bit wide as Gallo kept himself firmly in contention. And Kaj de Bruin was a late race charger as well, as Sasaki got the better of Miyazono for the race lead at the start of lap 8. And you wondered whether de Bruin would be able to join in on the action and whether he would be in the fight for victory. Unfortunately for the Dutchman, it would not prove to be, as we see Gallo here getting the better. This was de Bruin's undoing. Flicks the wall over the nose of Takuma Miyazono, and out of contention for the victory, and also putting him at a disadvantage for the grand final as well.
A real shame for that, but here was the defining moment of the race. Miyazono and Gallo. Gallo managing to get by at T1 and just about blocking Miyazono behind him. We thought maybe that would be enough for Gallo to get to the line. Final second by 0.003 of a second. Miyazono passes at the line, takes the win, and has pole position for the grand final.
Well, let's catch up with Takuma Miyazono. He's down on the floor talking to Sasha and Jules.
Well done, congratulations.
おめでとうございます。拍手。
Now, as an audience,
that was so fun to see Tokyo Expressway with all of those cars. Was it fun? Is fun the right word for you?
見ててすごく面白かったんですけれども、やってて楽しかったですか？
疲れました。
It's so exhausting.
It looked very exhausting.
Is there any moment that you thought you will not win the race? 勝てないと思った瞬間ってレースの中でありましたか？
いや、ずっといいポジション入れたんで、最後ちょっとバレリオ前出られた時はちょっとその焦りはしたんですけど、最終コーナーがヘアピンで、僕のガイルドが4輪駆動でトラクションかかるので、ちょっとこうあえて間を空けて、直線入ればギリギリ抜ききれるかなと思って、最後まで冷静に入れたのが勝因なのかなというふうに思います。
Well, actually not. Well, when Valeria went in front of me at the last corner, I thought, because my car is four-wheel drive, and I just keep a little bit of distance and go straight after the hairpin, and I still thought I can catch up, so there were no worries actually.
Everyone was standing up. It was very
皆さん
exciting.
立ち上がってましたね。皆さん
Very exciting.
楽しかったですか？どうですか？おめでとうございます。Congratulations!
Yes, let's throw it back to Tom and Jimmy.
That was sweaty.
Yeah, cheers Jules, cheers Sasha. Great to hear there from Takuma Miyazono, absolutely delighted, and the crowd loving that one as well. Confirmation of the result sees Takuma Miyazono taking victory by 0.003 of a second. That is going to be one of, if not the closest finish we've seen in GT history.
Yeah, amazing to see that, and I think I lost a part of my voice there when that happened. Suzuki third, Serrano fourth, Inestrosa fifth, and Callum Roach, good result for him in P6. Of course, and the big casualty, Coque López, unfortunately having an incident in the race. But of course, here's a reminder of our Nations Cup format. 12 drivers throughout the entire season. Round 1, round 2, round 3, where we are now collecting points for that world final at Amsterdam. We will decide our Nations Cup champion for 2024.
Absolutely, and we've also got some campaigns going on within Gran Turismo 7 at the moment as well. Your chance to win some fantastic prizes. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a bit of free stuff? Have a look at this and see what it's all about.
Don't forget that you can get involved with the World Series inside Gran Turismo 7 with the bonus campaign. Just click on the Winners Campaign banner on the GT7 World Map, and that's going to give you the chance to win 1 million credits for each of the Nations Cup and the Manufacturers Cup too. Just think of all of the free stuff you could buy with that. Don't forget you can enter and vote right up until the start of each grand final. Watch the World Series broadcast through your GT7 game and you'll unlock some special in-game rewards through the Viewers Campaign. Watch the Nations Cup in-game and you'll receive the iconic 2008 Zanavi Nismo GTR GT500. If you want to see how you compare to our superstar competitors, head over to a new time trial in Gran Turismo 7, which mirrors the Nations Cup Grand Final here in Tokyo. The competition duration and car category is on screen now and will take place at Grand Valley Highway 1. Even more Gran Turismo World Series themed race events will be available in daily races of sport mode. Similar to the Manufacturers Cup here in Tokyo, featuring GR3 cars racing on Mount Panorama. Tune in and claim your rewards.
Well, there we are. Don't say we don't give you anything, because we've got some good stuff going on there, I reckon.
Yeah, and some credits too.
Absolutely. Right, Grand Valley Highway is the circuit that we're going to be competing on then for the grand final of the Nations Cup. Looking forward to this one because it's a bit of a classic, and we're in the Red Bull X 2019. There's 3 different tyre compounds, 27 laps. Of course, the grid order decided by that sprint race that we had a few moments ago. And look at that, a snake of corners there, 19 turns in total.
A couple of good lunging zones, TM, as we've dubbed them now. T2's their amazing place to overtake, as is the hairpin down at T6. And of course, these things have quite a decent slipstream as well. So if you get close enough on the straight, there is a possibility to do that. But of course, these Red Bull X 2019 cars, very much a downforce car. So if you follow too closely, especially through that midsection, you can find yourself burning those tyres nice and quickly. And that, of course, is part of the strategy for these guys. Racing hard, medium and soft tyres being used, all have to be used at least once.
Drivers to watch then. This is my pick, Coque López, only because he's got a mission on his hands. And if you look back to Prague a few weeks ago, he managed to go from last almost up to first, finishing in 3rd place. He loves the next 2019. He loves pulling about a different strategy, and he could be one to watch.
He likes the mission, does Coque, doesn't he? I mean, he's been here for a long time, very experienced. There's a reason why he's our current leader. But of course, he has this man, our winner from last time out at Prague, Valerio Gallo. I think it'd be fair to say he's never really been a specialist in the X 2019, but he's always quick enough to be in a position to win, as he was in Prague. So, of course, definitely one to look for, as is this man, Takuma Miyazono. I think probably one of the fastest drivers in the X World 2019.
And I dare say that the crowd here are going to be rooting for him that little bit harder here tonight, aren't they? Let's be honest. I think he's in with a good shout of it. And, of course, they're in the Red Bull X 2019, Jimmy. We love that car. We've seen it in every single Nations Cup event up until now. 816 horsepower, 650 kilos. It's an absolute weapon.
Yeah, I mean, comfortably one of the fastest cars in Gran Turismo 7. And always brings out the best in our competitors. You need lightning reaction times to get the most out of this thing. Something I found out, unfortunately, when I tried driving it myself back in Prague.
That's why you're standing here talking.
That's why I'm standing here.
So look, tyre strategies then. What do we reckon to this? Softs, mediums, hards, difference in pace there. Is it going to work out like that, do you reckon?
I'm not sure. I mean, we like to see people try a free stop quite often for a double soft stint, because it really does make a difference in this car having a good tyre underneath you. But you can see there, it's quite a decent pit loss here, 25 seconds plus 3 litres per second of refueling. Now the drivers are going to need to put some fuel in at the point of this race. You can't just go from the start to the end on one tank, so that will come into strategy too. Our winning predictions so far, just like in the Manufacturers Cup, very much Takuma Miyazono being the favourite.
Absolutely. Don't forget, this is your last chance to get involved in the Predict the Winners campaign before this race gets underway. So if you aren't doing it, go and do it now. And as I said, you could be in with a chance of winning some cool stuff as well. So Miyazono, the hot favourite amongst our audience here, and get yourself involved in the conversation. Anyway, we are about ready to get the grand final underway in a few moments' time. But before that, let's head down to Jules and Sasha.
Oh, Sasha, it's almost time for the grand final.
I already lost a couple of pounds watching this race.
I'm very sweaty.
Me too. How about the crowds? さあ皆さんはどうなんでしょう。盛り上がってるのかちょっと聞いてみましょうか。ここまで楽しんでますか？
最高です。
最高です。Excellent.
Okay, are you ready? It is now time for the Nations Cup Grand Final. Are you ready, Tokyo? Let's hear it. Okay, Tokyo is ready. We're ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Do it.
It's round 3 of the 2024 Gran Turismo World Series. The crowd are going to be on their feet for this one, I'm sure. The grand final of the Nations Cup is along the way. Red Bull X 2019's at Grand Valley Highway 1. Let's see what happens as we get ready for our last event before the World Finals in December. Here's the grid then. Takuma Miyazono lines up on pole position after taking victory in the sprint race by 0.03 of a second from this man, Valerio Gallo. Alongside him on the front row there with Sasaki heading row 2 and Jose Serrano, the order in 10th position, and Coque López, the man who leads the championship down in 11th with Kaj de Bruin, the unlucky Dutchman for company. Now, our first look at the tyre strategy. Unsurprisingly there, Takuma Miyazono going on the soft compound of tyre. He wants to do what we saw in the Manufacturers Cup a couple of hours ago, Jimmy, and break away early.
Yeah, very similar strat here. I mean, basically, if you're at the front, go for the soft tyre, break away, try and use that in the space you have in front of you, and just hope you don't get overtaken by the car behind. That is worst case scenario for Miyazono, so he needs to lead this first stint. Likewise, on the other side of the coin, we've got Guy Barber, Robbie Heck, Drumont, Coque López and Kaj de Bruin all opting to start on that hard compound tyre towards the back of the field, get out of the way early when in traffic, and then get onto that fast tyre later on.
Well, let's see what is going to happen. There is Angel Estroza, the Chilean driver, returning from injury after breaking his leg last year, and he's back to full fitness now. We'll see whether he is going to be able to get the cat amongst the pigeons and crucially get himself off the bottom of the scoreboard. It's going to be all eyes on the lights in a few moments' time. Nations Cup action about to begin then here for the grand final. 27 laps of action begins now as Takuma Miyazono leads the field across the line, followed by Gallo and Sasaki coming down in towards turn 2. This is the first big heavy braking zone. The field, of course, a fair bit spread out due to that rolling start, and Miyazono with a lot more grip underneath him as well, courtesy of those soft tyres. Let's see what happens with the medium shod runners. Will they start squabbling amongst themselves, or will they start playing it safe in the early stages of this race? Either way, it's Miyazono that leads the way out in front through the first few corners. Inestrosa there having a half look to the inside, but also then gets in turn overtaken by Callum Roach.
He actually had contact there with Sasaki, which put him back into the field, so already the first move we've seen, possible contact. In fact, there was contact, as Stuart's having a look at that right now, but to be honest, just this first lap stuff, it is what it is. But you see the cars snaking through this midsection. Callum Roach up into 4th place. A great start from the American driver, so him stamping his intent fairly quickly is Callum, as we now come on to this little mini back straight here. Opportunity to overtake if you're close enough using the draft. Will Callum Roach do that on Sasaki here? Is he try? Because we've seen Roach before in these X2019s. He's pretty quick in these, so one to watch, I think.
Yeah, he needs to have some good fortune. He hasn't had any of that so far this year, has Callum Roach, another driver who's not off the bottom of the scoreboard. You can see the advantage of that soft combative tyre. 1.5 seconds, and we're not even at the end of the first lap here for Takuma Miyazono. Gallo building a bit of a gap, though, to Sasaki in 3rd position. The slipstream range about 1.2 seconds or so, and Gallo's trying to break out of that slipstream range. You can see coming down the start-finish straight here, Roach right on the wheel tracks here of Takuma Sasaki. I think he's a bit far away, and we see a smorgasbord of hard tyre shod runners. Barbara, Drumont, De Bruin and Lopez all getting off that hard tyre as soon as they possibly can. They're going on to the mediums by the looks of things.
Well, that's one or two things. Either they're very confident the medium tyre can go a long way in this race, as can the soft, or it's going to be a free stop for a double soft, as we've seen in a couple of races before. Coque López, unsurprisingly, coming in straight away. This is someone who needs to get out of the pits and have some clear area. I'm not sure he's going to, though. Everyone's pitting at the same time. Then where is Coque? He's towards the back of his back, isn't he? So yeah, some people have tried the same thing, but we'll see if it works out.
He's going to have a little bit of work to do here as Coque López. You can see them down there in 12th position, but what's the gap relative to the rest of the field? It's not going to be a great deal, is it? Guy Barbara just getting overtaken there by Kylian Drumont as the rest of that field filters on through. Let's have a look here with Roach, Inestrosa, Serrano. So Inestrosa biffed it up the inside. He was too late on the brakes into Sasaki. And Serrano just an innocent passenger there, but Roach saw the doors opening like the seas were parting and walked straight through it.
That almost worked if Sasaki wasn't there. it would have been fine, basically.
So it didn't work then, is what we're saying.
Almost, It's Sasaki, meanwhile, managing to close that gap a little bit to Valerio Gallo at the end of lap 2 there. Important to do that, I think, because Inestrosa there getting a 1 second penalty. To be fair, that is consistent with what the stewards have done so far, so not entirely surprised to see that.
Yeah, no surprise at all there. Here is Jose Serrano, 1/3 of the Nations Cup lineup, which won the title in 2023. Back when that was a team-based competition, for 2024, it's an individual competition. It's winner-takes-all stakes. And we look forward to seeing what's going to happen in the World Finals. Takuma Sasaki still with Callum Roach right on his rear wing as he tries to find his way past. At the moment, they're all being relatively well-behaved as it stands for now. You can see a fair big gap there back to Drumont. Of course, they've all made their pit stops, as we know, but 25 seconds or so. So Drumont with a nice bit of clear air in front of him, but he's not got too much of a time to sit there and think about it, because he's got Barbara, De Bruin very close behind. Lopez, in turn, is about 3 or so seconds off the back of that field at the moment, so he can run relatively comfortably for the time being, but if he does pick up the pace, he'll begin to get into the dirty air, which, as we know, is quite prominent on these heavy downforce cars.
Yeah, of course. So always good to keep that in mind. So good to note, by the way, our current Nations Cup standings. We have 6 drivers who are sort of within touching distance of the lead. We've got Coque López leading on 8 points, Valerio Gallo 7, Miyazono 6, then Drumont, De Bruin and Serrano all on 5 points apiece. So either of these drivers with a good result today could see themselves rocket to the top of the order. It's been a very close season so far, and this is, I think, going to continue into the grand final.
I just love this circuit as well. The fantastic atmosphere. Of course, it is a fictional track, but it's based on a real-life location, the Grand Valley Highway, and just the scenery is beautiful, especially as you head over that viaduct in particular. The wide shot there making these cars looking absolutely resplendent in the sunshine. Roach still keeping tabs here with Takuma Sasaki, not letting him have a lot of breathing room at all.
I was going to say on the circuit, I was going to sort of get my
my glasses on under the Illinois and say that I'm not quite sure it's to be a grade 1 circuit with these cars. Tom, there's not much runoff there. It's literally a cliff there.
Yeah.
If you get it wrong.
That's a rally stage,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
That's
that is. Luckily, none of our guys testing whether the X-Ball 2019 can fly or not. For now, anyway. Coque López going from bad to worse for him. Looking down at that. 12th place, 4 seconds off the back. What do you do with the Coque López? I mean, he's our current Nations Cup leader. I've got a feeling he won't be after this race.
No, it's a very good opportunity for others to capitalise. Miyazono, Gallo, all within touching distance. Gallo on 7 points, Miyazono on 6 points, despite failing to score last time out in the second round of the championship in Prague. So we'll see whether he's able to take advantage of that. But like you say, Lopez needs a minor miracle at the moment. There is Adriano Carrazza sitting in 6th position for now. Kind of in no man's land really at the moment, because Jose Serrano is up ahead of him by about 1.7 seconds or so.
Yeah, so I mean, not much you can really do at the moment in that scenario. But Miyazono, 5 seconds to the lead now, and Gallo's just been passed actually by Sasaki. We've just missed that on the screen. I think it's just ahead of us right now using the slipstream. So Gallo down to 3rd place, Sasaki up into 2nd, but Roach there as well. So these 3 cars really close for 2nd place right now, and they need to be careful about this. And we say this so often that obviously you're a racing driver, you want to be as high up the order as possible, but if you're squabbling every corner, you're just giving time away to the cars around you who are not doing that, who are driving on the ideal racing line, not having to brake earlier or later. So you have to really make sure the move is worth making before you make it.
Yeah, Miyazono putting an absolute cracker of a strategy at the moment so far. You can see there 5 seconds he's got in 5 laps or so, so he's putting a good chunk of time compared to the rest of the field. The question is, how much is he putting into his tyres? How long are they going to last? Of course, the mediums will be longer. They're a harder compound, relatively speaking. But of course, the converse with that is that they are slower over the course of 1 lap. So we'll see how that's going to pan out for Miyazono and when those tyres will start to degrade to the point where they don't have any performance advantage over the medium shod runners. Just to give you an idea of how much quicker Miyazono was, last time around a 1:27.159, Sasaki a 1:27.748, so about 6/10 of a second or so to the good of his compatriot. Let's have a look here at Sasaki versus Gallo then. So this is through the right-hander on towards the start-finish straight, and a big snap of oversteer there for Gallo.
They did well to gather that. That could have very easily been similar to what we've seen with Kylian Drumont all the way back in Montreal, where he spun it just coming out the corner. These cars, a lot of horsepower, over 800 brake horsepower in these cars, and these guys don't like running the TC, so imagine trying to control that every lap with tyres that are getting steadily worse, and you can see Gallo's problem. And to add to that, Callum Roach is now part of Gallo's problem as we come down to T1. That little kink there, I think, saves a lot of people into the first corner.
No doubt about it.
It turns it into a bit of a one-line corner, that. So this corner coming down here, T6 ahead, though, isn't a one-line corner. Let's see if Callum Roach in front can do anything. We're on board with Jose Serrano. Good viewing seats here for Jose Serrano, but going to be a bit higher right now. Although, to his credit, seems to have the best tyre condition of all the drivers around him on our information we have here. So just whispering to those medium tyres at the moment.
I'm loving this gyro-style cam that we're using here in the GT World Series. We've been using it for a good number of years. Have you noticed Formula 1 have started using it?
Miyazono, penalty.
Yeah, so that's happened there.
Must have been track limits somewhere. 1 second penalty, so he must have. All the while, Miyazono is lapping.
And all the field in front of him. Oh, Gallo that leads, Roach in second. Roach again still owes that hard compound of tyre, but has the same fuel as Valerio Gallo. So that is a de facto position there. Roach, as it stands for now, because he's in exactly the same position, exactly the same strategy. Of course, he's got 5.5 seconds, 5.9 seconds. Race victory, or at least a podium here this afternoon. And don't forget, of course, points all the way down to 6th place and the World Fan 2. Well, he's certainly closing. It kinks though left, and Miyazono's going to park the car on the middle, and unless Drumont can send it down the inside, which he can't, Miyazono parks it on the outside. But it's the exit of this corner where Drumont will have greater traction underneath him, and he may be able to set something up into the next right-handed hairpin. He's in the slipstream here of Miyazono, and he's surely going to be launching a move for the inside for 3rd position. Down into the right-hander we go, and Drumont gets the better of Takuma Miyazono and moves up into 3rd place. How critical is that going to be for the Frenchman?
Yeah, I think that was something that Miyazono was a bit clever let that happen. I think he knows that he can't defend right now. When you're on that hard compound of tyre, it's not a reflection of the driver's skill. You just don't have the grip, which means you can't get out of the corners as fast, you can't brake as well, you can't use the high-speed grip as well. So you just find yourself managing, which is why the drivers all try and get off the hard tyre as soon as possible. And why we were so surprised to see him try and take it so long, he's got to take it to the end still from here. So what
we're watching now is when will Gallo pit? When will Roach pit? I assume fairly soon, just because those tyres are soft tyres. Roach into the pit lane. Okay, this will be a good indicator of where Drumont is in relation to Gallo, who's opted for another lap.
But Gallo's tyres are more worn than Roach's.
And the times are, I mean, they're not there. 28.3. Drumont is really becoming a contender now.
Yeah, Drumont could be in for the victory then here this afternoon in the grand final in Tokyo. Well, we said if in doubt, flat out, win it or bin it style, and it's not been a particularly fortuitous season so far for the young Frenchman, but it is coming to him absolutely handsomely here. Finished on the podium last time out in Prague with 5 points on the board, and he could be set to take a maximum of 6 here today as well. And Miyazono's race still continues to unravel because Serrano is now right on the back of him as well.
Roach comes out in P7, so I think the pit stop's slightly longer than we anticipated there for Callum Roach, which by my maths means that I don't think Gallo's got the gap he needs.
Well, it's 25 seconds. That's going to be tight though, isn't it? It depends on how much fuel he's got on board. 14, it's about the same, isn't it? He's not going to take any fuel, so that's fine. Okay, right, so Gallo then, this is going to come down to the pit stops then here for the victory of this race. There is Kylian Drumont just up the road in the blue X29 but Serrano is again putting the pressure onto the back of Takuma Miyazono, who's in no man's land. He's got no answer to this one, and his race has come well and truly unravelled owing to a fuel miscalculation seemingly for him. Gallo into the pits then, 12 litres of fuel left, 2 laps of the race left. He'll make it to the end of that one, but he's going to be on the slowest, harder compound of tyre towards the end of this one, whereas Drumont is going to be on the soft compound of tyre, quicker over the course of this race. And Serrano still continues to pile the pressure onto the back of Takuma Miyazono for that final podium place here.
So where is Kylian Drumont? Going down the straight now, coming over the start-finish line. Gallo there waiting in the pit lane. It must feel like an eternity. And up into the lead goes Kylian Drumont. Go there. Oh, he's down to 4th place there. So hasn't done enough there to maintain the position. Miyazono battling with Jose Serrano, but can't quite keep the place. Serrano up to second. Drumont from seemingly nowhere, 9 positions he's gained this race and is now leading with just under 2 laps to go.
He's done exactly what Coque López wanted to do in Prague, coming from pretty much the back of the field up into the lead of the race, and this has been a quite brilliant strategy with just 2 laps remaining, and he's now got the quickest compound of tyres, fresh tyres underneath him, and it could be bad to worse here for Takuma Miyazono because Gallo, Sasaki, Etal are all very close behind, so the podium is very much under threat here for the Japanese driver who drove a brilliant first stint of this race, but it is coming unravelled to the extreme, and you can see Sasaki piling the pressure onto the back of Gallo. Soft tyres for Sasaki, hard tyres here for Valerio Gallo, and is there anything the Italian is going to be able to do to hold off the charge of the Japanese driver? Over the viaduct we go, into the tunnel. Sasaki's going to have more grip going into the right-hander, but there's no trap position there, but Gallo's a little bit wide. There's a bit of contact. The door is open there for Sasaki, but we flick it left, and Gallo can just live to fight another day as we come onto the start-finish straight. Wide there for Gallo. Sasaki sniffs the opportunity and he's ready to try and take advantage of it. He's trying every which way he can, but Gallo's defending the line through there. Into the right-hander we go, onto the start-finish straight. Sasaki's got the slipstream. He's going to have trap position and he's going to get 4th place here. Gallo squeezes him towards the pit wall, but Sasaki goes, thanks very much, and he's up into 4th at the start of the final lap.
Yeah, good attempt there from Gallo to keep that place, but he just can't defend from that straight line speed differential, or can he? Gallo having another go at Sasaki. Kaj de Bruin's back in the mix as well after serving that penalty, so it's not over for Gallo yet. Miyazono still somehow holding on to a podium position with Kylian Drumont putting away out front. What a fairy tale story for the Frenchman.
And the thing is with Miyazono, this could come to his aid because Serrano's on soft tyres, but they're 10 laps old. They're absolutely clapped out. That's the problem though, is the soft tyres are now beginning to fall off a cliff. Look at the rear tyres here for Drumont and Serrano, 17-18%. We've only got 1 lap remaining, so it's still not possibly out of the question here for Takuma Miyazono to get second. Is the victory still within his grasp though? There is Kylian Drumont, and the gap is shrinking down, a 28 flat for him. Miyazono last time around a 28.4, but Miyazono still on the back of Serrano. He needs to dispatch him as soon as he possibly can. I think the victory is going to be out of the question, but second place could be on the cards, and crucial points going into the World Finals as well. If he can find his way through up the inside, it's going to be a tall order, but Kylian Drumont though has timed this one to absolute perfection. What a drive and what a strategy for the young Frenchman as he comes through the tunnel for the final time. Kylian Drumont takes his first victory of the season in the Gran Turismo World Series. The Frenchman is on top in Tokyo. It's Jose Serrano in second, Miyazono takes third, Gallo in fourth, just by 200ths of a second from Takuma Sasaki in 5th, and De Bruin right close behind as well. World Finals as well. Here are the highlights there for the Grand Final. Takuma Miyazono starting this one on pole position, and he managed to get an early lead on the soft tyres.
He had to do it on that soft compound, as you say, Tom. Very important to use that early, and he did that. This is something you've seen done before, but this might have been something that really affected his race here. A 1 second penalty just for track limits. Very easy to pick that up around here. We saw him box early for that medium compound of tyre, which actually turned out to be his first mistake. Meanwhile, Callum Roach and Jose Serrano had a fantastic battle midway through the race. Great to see Callum Roach up the sharp end of the field, and Serrano there just showing us why he was champion back in 2023.
Yep, so this is the pit stops in the middle stages of the race. You can see drivers there diverging in strategy, some taking on a bit of fuel, others deciding not to do so. There is Takuma Miyazono, and at this point he knows that his race is beginning to come unraveled, because he drove a brilliant first stint, and not a bad middle stint either though, but he didn't have enough fuel on board, had to pit, had to do a long stint on the hard compound of tyre. And unfortunately, that was the undoing for him. Meanwhile, Kylian Drumont, who had pitted for the soft tyres 10 laps before the end of this one, managed to ghost his way up to the sharp end of the field. This is Miyazono versus Serrano with a couple of laps remaining. And Serrano just managing to stave off the charge of him. This is Gallo versus Takuma Sasaki as well for 4th position at the start of the final lap. And it was a bit of a sketchy time for Kylian Drumont because his tyres were wearing down, but fortunately for him, he timed it absolutely beautifully. He came across the line to take victory, his first of the season, which will do no harm at all to his championship challenge. Serrano in 2nd and Miyazono in 3rd place. So, Kylian Drumont takes victory. Let's go down to Sasha and Jules and get all the latest.
Kylian, oh my goodness, a massive round of applause. That was amazing drive.
What a race.
That was, I mean, what were your tyres at the end there? Do you know?
Well, that was complicated to start P10 after the sprint races. So, yeah, I know my pace was really good for the race, so I just gave it my best. And yeah, that was really good.
10番手スタートということでね、スプリントでレーススタートで、レースは自信はあったんですけれども、本当に頑張りましたということなんですけどね。いやー、戦略ですよ。ハードからすぐミディアムに変えて、で最後まで走ったということですが、What a strategy! Was it in your mind starting with hard and changing with, first 2 laps and then go with the medium and soft?
Yeah, for the strategy, when I start to do backs, it's obviously sure to start with the bad tires, like the hard tires.
Yes.
So I know the strategy was 1 lap and go off with the mediums and soft for the best at the end with your low fuel. So yeah, that was my strategy, but I was surprised my pace was so really good. So yeah, this is thanks to that.
スタートポジションが悪かったんで、もう一番悪いタイヤを使ってスタートしていこうというふうに決めていたんですね。であとはミディアムとソフトでなるべく軽い燃料で走っていこうというふうに決めていたんですけれども、それがうまくいったということなんですね。What a race!
What a race!
Thank you very much.
Did you enjoy that?
楽しみましたか?
We certainly did. Let's throw it back to Tom and Jimmy.
Yeah, cheers Jules, cheers Sasha. Great to hear Kylian Drumont there. That strategy works out absolutely beautifully, didn't it?
I see him back on top again. This is a driver that sort of burst onto the scene a couple of years ago, then sort of maybe petered out a little bit, and now we're seeing the speed of the Frenchman. So your results then confirmed on screen. Kylian Drumont takes victory here, the grand final at Tokyo. Serrano 2nd place with Miyazono in 3rd. Gallo 4th, Sasaki 5th, and Kaj de Bruin taking the last point there in 6th. Although the big news really for that is Coque López, the leader going into this round in Tokyo, failed to score. Here's what it does to the points ranking.
Yeah, Lopez from 1st down to 5th. How the tables have turned for the Spaniard. Consistency was the name of the game for him, and unfortunately, not a consistent round 3 for him. And that means that Kylian Drumont leads by 1 point ahead of Jose Serrano, Takuma Miyazono, and Valerio Gallo going into the World Finals.
Yeah, that's crazy. That top 4, all separated by 1 point. I mean, that is exactly what we want, really, going into Amsterdam. It's going to be an amazing showdown here. But don't forget, of course, to vote for your Michelin driver of the day, Miyazono, Drumont, or Valerio Gallo. You can vote, of course, on YouTube in our little poll as well. What do you reckon, Tom?
I would have to say Kylian Drumont based on that strategy. I know that sounds like a bit of a cop-out because he went and won the race, but it was very, very impressive. And you've got to feel for Takuma Miyazono as well. He had the victory possibly in his grasp there. He drove a brilliant first stint, but seemingly a miscalculation, we reckon, for the fuel in that middle stint cost him.
I really think what happened is he goes, all right, okay, I'm going to just serve this penalty now and pit, and then sort of forgot that, oh no.
To be fair, that penalty, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That could have possibly, I mean, he was what, 1.7 seconds? That would have been, well, it would have been possibly the race lead, wouldn't it? That penalty could have cost him the victory.
He would have been there. That's how tight these margins are. I said it would happen. That could affect the race massively, and it does. You've got to be so clean and so precise in this race. It's the smallest mistake. It comes back to bite you.
Have you got the lottery numbers for next Thursday as a result of your Oracle list?
Well, will I be here, Tom, if I...
That's a very, very good... No, you'd be trying to get Minty to work, wouldn't you? Anyway, yeah, Kylian Drumont, beautiful job from the young Frenchman. And as I said, class is temporary, form is permanent. Yeah. Wait a minute, other way around. Form is temporary, class is permanent. Reverse it.
Whatever saying it is.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day. But yeah, brilliant job from him. I can't overstate how impressive that is as well, because as I said, he's had something of an anonymous season so far. If you remember back to Montreal when we were at Road at America, he ended up crashing out, didn't he? And a possible podium finish there slipped through his fingers.
What did we say? He either wins it or DNFs.
Yeah, wins it or bins it.
So he's won it this time.
Yeah, World Finals, aren't we? Don't forget about Amsterdam, of course, of the World Finals, because you can still get your tickets for that as well. They're on sale now.
You can meet Tom Brooks.
I don't know if that's a reason to buy them or
stay away from Amsterdam.
Exactly, yeah, that means the ticket sales are going to go down. But I'm really looking forward to the World Finals, especially considering the fact we've got, 4 or 5 drivers all separated by 1 point.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no idea what's happened for that World Final. All I know is it is going to be an amazing spectacle. It always is the Nations Cup. Looking forward to it, mate.
Absolutely. Well, let's get the podium ceremony then underway here in Tokyo for the Nations Cup. Please welcome in third place for the Nations Cup here for World Series 3 from Japan, it's Takuma Miyazono! Second place here for World Series 3, back onto the podium for Spain, it's Jose Serrano! And taking his first victory of the season and the championship lead after World Series 3 in Tokyo, it is the Frenchman Kylian Drumont! And now, ladies and gentlemen, your respect please for the national anthem of France. Well, the celebrations then will begin very shortly, or will continue very shortly, as a matter of fact. Come to think of it, it's been a brilliant race, hasn't it? Really, really superb. And I'll tell you what, it's setting us up an absolute treat for the World Finals, which, by the way, I don't know if we mentioned, tickets are on sale now. To get yourself to Amsterdam, get along to that, because you are in for an absolute cracker. Can't wait for it.
Fancy joining us for the World Series Finals? Well, it's going to be happening in Amsterdam, Netherlands, from December the 6th to the 8th at Theatre Amsterdam, which is the same venue as last year's Showdown event. Gold tickets are on sale now. Head on over to GranTurismo.com before they run out. A trip to Amsterdam in December to watch the best Gran Turismo racing. I mean, what's not to like? It's going to be brilliant. But If you can't make it in person, don't worry. You can still catch all of the action online through our YouTube and Twitch channels at GranTurismo.com or directly on Gran Turismo 7. Now there's no excuse to miss the best of the best Gran Turismo racers battle it out in the World Series finals.